Let's get right into it. Number 10. The 7-year gum sentence. You accidentally swallow your gum. Your friend looks at you with horror and says, "That's going to be in there for 7 years." And just like that, you're imagining this piece of gum just sitting in your stomach forever. But your body isn't an Airbnb for wayward gum. Sure, your stomach can't break down the gum base. It's like trying to digest a tiny piece of rubber, but your digestive system has a simple rule for things it can't break down. If you can't digest it, you evict it. Within a few days, that gum gets an express ticket through your system and out the exit. It's the same thing that happens when you swallow a watermelon seed or that tiny piece of plastic from your water bottle cap. Now, if you make a habit of swallowing gum, especially as a kid, it could cause blockages. Think of it like flushing too many paper towels. Eventually, things get stuck, but one accidental swallow? Your body's got this. That gum is not signing any long-term leases in there. Number 9. The Great Microwave Panic. Back in the 80s and 90s, everyone thought microwaves were basically tiny nuclear reactors in your kitchen. Parents would stand 10 feet away when heating up leftovers, like they were defusing a bomb. People thought you'd end up glowing in the dark, or that microwaved water could kill plants. The reality? Your microwave is about as dangerous as a flashlight. It uses something called non-ionizing radiation. This just makes water molecules dance around to create heat. Your TV remote uses non-ionizing radiation. Your Wi-Fi router uses it. Even your radio uses it. You get more radiation from eating a banana than from standing next to your microwave for a year. Bananas are naturally slightly radioactive because they contain potassium-40. So next time your Aunt Karen warns you about microwave radiation, remind her that her banana smoothie is technically more radioactive than your leftover pizza. The only real danger from your microwave is if you put metal in it, or maybe if it falls on your foot. It's not going to turn you into the Hulk, no matter what your mom told you in 1992. Number 8. The knuckle cracking myth. Your mom probably told you that cracking your knuckles would give you arthritis. One scientist got so annoyed by this myth that he spent 60 years proving it wrong. Dr. Donald Unger cracked the knuckles on his left hand at least twice a day for 6 decades. That's over 43,800 knuckle cracks on one hand. He never cracked the knuckles on his right hand. After 60 years, he found absolutely nothing. No arthritis, no swelling, no problems at all. He even won an Ig Nobel Prize for this research, which honors science that makes you laugh first and think second. Here's what actually happens when you crack your knuckles. There's a bubble of gas in the fluid around your joints. When you pull your joints apart, that bubble pops, making that satisfying crack. It's like bubble wrap, but inside your fingers. It takes about 20 minutes for that gas bubble to reform, which is why you can't crack the same knuckle again right away. The only real downside is you might drive everyone around you completely insane. Number 7. The Blindness Curse. Remember your mom yelling, "You'll go blind reading in the dark"? That was about as real as her threat to sell you to the circus. This myth was so widespread that even doctors believed it back in the day. The logic seemed solid. Squinting in dim light must damage your eyes. When you read in low light, your eyes are basically doing the equivalent of lifting weights at the gym. The muscles in your eyes work harder to focus, and your pupils dilate to let in whatever light they can find. This can give you a headache and make your eyes feel tired, but it's temporary, just like being sore after a workout. Your eyes will bounce back to normal after a good rest. Studies have shown zero evidence of permanent damage from reading in dim light. The myth likely stuck around because back before electricity, many people who read by candlelight did have vision problems, but it wasn't the bad lighting. It was because they were experiencing normal age-related vision decline and blamed it on all those late-night reading sessions. Number 6. The full-fat demon. Remember when full-fat milk was treated like liquid evil? The 80s and 90s were wild times. Everyone was convinced that fat was the enemy, and grocery stores started pushing skim milk like it was holy water. Parents would gasp if they saw you pouring full-fat milk into your cereal. Turns out we were all drinking watery sadness for nothing. Recent studies show that people who drink whole milk are often less likely to be overweight. The fat in milk helps you feel full longer, so you're less likely to raid the snack cabinet an hour later. Plus, when companies remove fat from milk, they often add something else to make it taste better. Sugar, the real villain of the nutrition world. It's like firing the security guard and hiring the actual thief to protect your house. Full-fat dairy is even linked to a lower risk of diabetes. All those years of choking down skim milk, and we could have been enjoying the creamy good stuff. Number 5. The cold air curse. We've all heard our moms yelling, Put on a jacket or you'll catch your death of cold. Turns out mom was working with some outdated info. Going outside with wet hair or without a coat doesn't actually make you sick. Colds and flu are caused by viruses, not by temperature. You could run naked through a snowstorm, and if there's no virus around, you're not getting sick. That's why we get more colds in winter, not because of the cold, but because we're all huddled inside sharing our germs in warm, stuffy environments where viruses thrive. When you're cold, the blood vessels in your nose and throat do constrict a bit. This might temporarily lower your local immune response, making it slightly easier to catch a virus if you're exposed to one. But the cold air itself isn't the cause. If cold air caused illness, Arctic researchers would be sick all the time. Instead, they often report fewer colds than people in warmer climates. This doesn't mean you should throw away your coats, of course. Being cold is uncomfortable, and hypothermia is a real danger, but it won't give you a cold. Number 4. Eating frozen vegetables. You've probably been avoiding the frozen food aisle, thinking fresh is always best, and frozen vegetables are just sad, nutrient-free versions of the real thing, but those frozen peas might actually be more nutritious than the fresh ones in your fridge. Most fresh vegetables in the store are actually pretty old. They're picked before they're ripe, then shipped across the country, sometimes taking weeks to reach your plate. During this time, they're slowly losing nutrients like a leaky battery. Frozen vegetables, however, are like time capsules of nutrition. They're picked at peak ripeness and flash frozen within hours, locking in their nutritional value. Studies have shown that frozen vegetables often have more vitamins than their fresh counterparts that have been sitting around for days. For example, frozen broccoli can have more vitamin C than the fresh stuff in the produce section. Plus, how many times have you bought fresh spinach only to find it's turned into green slime in your fridge? Frozen vegetables don't pull that kind of betrayal. No pressure, no guilt, no science experiments in your crisper drawer. Number 3. The Devil's Brew. For centuries, people have tried to convince us that coffee is basically liquid evil. They said it would stunt your growth, which is why your grandma probably told you it would make you short. They claimed it would make your heart explode like an overworked firecracker. Modern science says coffee might actually help you live longer. Studies show that coffee drinkers have lower risks of heart disease, liver problems, and certain types of cancer. It's packed with antioxidants, those little compounds that fight aging and disease. In fact, for many Americans, coffee is their biggest source of antioxidants, mostly because they don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. The caffeine in coffee even helps your body burn fat and boosts your metabolism. It's like having a tiny personal trainer in your cup. On top of that, coffee drinkers have a lower risk of depression, maybe because it's hard to be sad when you're vibrating at the frequency of a hummingbird's wings. Number 2. The brain rot of video games. Your mom would yell, "Those games are rotting your brain." Turns out your brain wasn't turning into soup, it was leveling up. Back in the 80s and 90s, parents were convinced video games would turn kids into zombies. They thought Mario was going to turn your brain into mush, but studies now show gamers have better problem-solving skills. While you were figuring out how to beat Bowser, you were training your brain to solve complex problems. Gamers also have better reaction times. Dodging blue shells in Mario Kart is a workout for your neurons, and those quick decisions carry over into real life. Here's the kicker. Surgeons who played video games made 37% fewer mistakes in laparoscopic surgery. While your parents thought you were wasting time, you might have been practicing to save lives. Even memory gets a boost. Gamers who memorized Pokemon types and Street Fighter combos were building better memory pathways. And as for making you antisocial, coordinating a raid in World of Warcraft is basically leadership and teamwork training. Number 1. The ascorbic acid scare. You're reading a food label and you see it. Ascorbic acid. It sounds terrifying, like some dangerous chemical cooked up in a lab. People freak out, thinking it's an unhealthy, unnatural additive. This fear has gotten so bad that some influencers and wellness blogs tell you to avoid it at all costs. But ascorbic acid is just the chemical name for vitamin C. That's it. The exact same stuff you get from oranges and lemons. It's like being scared of dihydrogen monoxide when it's just the scientific name for water. Food companies add it to products not just for fortification, but because it's an excellent natural preservative that prevents spoilage. Marketing companies saw an opportunity here, selling no ascorbic acid products at premium prices. These products still contained vitamin C, just from other sources, so they could list acerola cherry powder instead. It's one of the biggest tricks in the book, making you fear a basic, essential nutrient just by calling it by its scientific name. Your body doesn't care if you call it ascorbic acid or vitamin C. It's the exact same molecule. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.